right. So, issues. It does actually work. So, last night I got the first deployment up in the cloud, takes in an action that came in, runs it through the commit cycle. It uses pooling, which means that theoretically it can take in concurrent actions trying to fly into the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So just otherwise it's sort of lame if it can't handle multiple actions coming in at the same time. And so it does that. It uses atomic locking on the database to make sure that it's got strong consistency guarantees. It pulls from GitHub, and you can put commits in the Git branch based on calling any of the functions that you used to be able to call. It's nice and easy to add a new function in there. Did some tuning today. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to ask add quiescence.
The
What's
issue
that?
was that, Deno turns out is so fast that it can
Just how'd your wish, as I say.
it
Yeah.
can it can finish its tests before some of the resources that were open, like a database connection or a broadcast channel, were closed or naturally expired. And it has this extraordinarily helpful feature where if your test ends and you didn't close all your resources, it's like, hey, that's a problem. This test has failed. And so quiescence was, I've realized that I needed to move the key feature we're leveraging in Deno is this queue function, but
Mm-hmm.
the when the queue action comes in, it does all its stuff, and then ultimately, when the last thing it does is it tells the function that called it, "Hey, your work's done now." And in my case, it was this test has got this result, and now it's done. But inside the queue handler, the queue doesn't consider its job done until that function returns okay. And so if the last action was telling the test that the test is exited completely, then the test finishes, but then the database is still not quite closed off that last message. And because this thing's so
It's a
fast,
strange thing, isn't it?
I know, yeah. It's just
Okay.
the
Yeah.
slightest timing difference, and because this thing's so fast, then now I need to actually quiescence is where I'm just watching the queue and just letting the queue get to zero before I'm
Yeah.
saying, okay, now we're
Right.
genuinely idle. We are completely idle.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So one of the concepts that I'm seems to be sticking around and I'm getting a lot of yield out of is naming each branch as a process ID,
Okay.
where the process ID is given by the GitHub account name / repository name / branch, and the branches can be arbitrarily deep. So
Yeah.
this would be like main / process 1, child process 2, child process 3, child process 4. And
Yeah.
like by referring to them as a PID, then I can address any branch anywhere, anytime, and that's been working out pretty good so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
There's a couple of I'm still not convinced. I'm still not convinced in the surety of the system. Um, it's sort of like,
What do you mean by surety?
well, like if you get combinations of things going on where you're like,
Hey,
yeah,
back.
the room kicked us out. That was interesting. Um,
Hmm. Oh, I kicked you out. I was here all the time.
okay,
Must be a connection thing.
must be
Usually
my
me.
bad. Must be my bad.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you mean by surety?
the the system might stall from the outside, maybe. It'll always complete on the inside, but I'm just not convinced that I've covered all cases where the external users of the system, like the web browser, um, may get into a state where the isolate in Deno is only allowed to use a small amount of CPU time before it is forcibly terminated. When that happens, the client is left
Hmm.
dangling. And so the
Hmm.
client, I haven't really done a lot to make sure the client can reconnect gracefully and carry on where they left off. So
Mm-hmm.
it's I'm I'm putting it down as one of those things where I'm probably worrying about it too early,
Mm.
and I'll deal with it when it happens. But that's sort of one of the things that bothers me about the system at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What else have we got? Can you just give me a second? Sorry, I'm just trying to find where my Bluetooth things went to. I had a whole lot of Bluetooth things. Dude, same. It has been horrible over here too. It's been absolutely awful. Um, okay, that's good. So what am I trying to say? The system works. It still looks good. I've had to learn. Uh, this is a bit of a self pity rant, so I'll do it very quickly. I've had to learn TypeScript because I'd actually didn't want to learn TypeScript for a long time. Deno plus Deno deploy plus the fresh web framework plus this other framework for
Mm-hmm.
doing web-based APIs. So a lot of stuff in the last couple of weeks. But what I'd like to note is that thanks to the powers of GitHub Copilot and GPT-4, I've been able to use those technologies, I feel, way faster than any other time when I've embarked on learning a new
Mm.
framework or anything like that. Like, it's
Mm.
actually incredible how fast you can
Mm. Get unstuck.
um,
Yeah.
get unstuck. Yeah, yeah. And plus, Dinner is just an incredible piece of engineering. Like, it is so fast. I just can't believe, can't believe it. So, where I'm at is, I still believe this path has yield, but I can't help the feeling of like, is it gonna be enough once we have it? Um,
Well, we haven't really defined enough. That's the problem.
Fair
Um,
point.
from my point of view, what I'm gagging to have is just even two bots, ideally three bots, um, in a way to get a response out. Excuse me.
Right.
Um, and uh, that's that would be brilliant. Now, I don't think. Well, my argument would be we don't have to worry about massive scale yet because, as we were talking about last
Yep.
time, we can swap in and out the different modules here. The logic, the thinking is correct, um, but we don't need it all for getting ahead and getting some cash in.
Yes.
So the question, I guess, is you're saying ultimately we're going to be limited. Well, ultimately limited if we, get $25 million in. Limited is a lot less limited than us doing it, or you doing it.
Well, us, because we both do different parts, and I don't think I could do it by myself. So
I guess it's kind of an MVP, isn't it?
yeah. Okay. Okay.
So the main things, the functions that I need is persistent memory and parallel operation of multiple bots. And that's really it.
That's okay. That's definitely coming. It definitely works. It definitely has great processing capacity. But I am just gutted that it keeps taking me longer than I think to get it up. But I am trying to, I wouldn't say do it right, but I'm trying to
not fuck up.
At least think it through. Well, because otherwise what'll happen is I'll end up in this big tangle, and it never seems to pan out faster if I just slap something together haphazardly.
Yeah. So here's a thought. So I've been doing a lot of prompt engineering in terms of what we need to do in terms of the various bots and so on. But I don't have a platform yet. I'm still cutting and pasting.
Yeah.
But that
sucks.
Well, it's no, it's fine enough. It's what we got. But in order to actually get that to be useful, as in I don't need to rewrite it, it would be really helpful just to be able to write in the environment, even if it breaks, even if it's shitty, or half done, or
okay. Yeah. Look, I'm trying to get the crappiest thing up. Up and going.
I need a crappy thing, because on the prompt engineering thing, I think I've nailed it. And there's diminishing returns now. I know how to talk to these bots. And actually, I've got a script here. If you're interested, I'll send over later. Which is basically almost a form-based sesh prompt that gives really strong returns. And if we use that consistently, we can actually teach all the bots. This is how we're talking to you. Obey these, and then we get them to talk together. I think we've got the framework. Now, really? I don't really know because, as I was saying, I've been copying and pasting backwards and forwards. I tried to auto-gen, but it was a bit of an arse.
They are kind of arsey, these frameworks, eh? Like they're there's something not quite
they keep on restricting.
What's the word for them? They're not free. Like you can't rewrite the platform inside the platform.
Right.
It's they pick this structure and you're like, that's it. And you're like, oh, what if I wanna, and they're like, no.
It was like having a headwind. They keep on pushing in one direction.
That's right. They're not
but I don't want to go in that direction. I want to go in this one.
I know. They're not malleable.
Yeah.
They're not malleable. So it seems like with this model, this model is definitely still holds, and it seems like you could reprogram it from within itself to do just about everything.
Yeah.
But I am planning to restrict you a little bit because you can't kill yourself. Like you can, this base branch.
What?
This base.
You mean terminate? Yeah.
Well, no, I mean there's a set of functions that this base branch needs to have without which you can't recover from. And so, for example, this base branch is not a repo, it's your user account. These other branches are repos that come in from Git, but you can never kill the base branch, or you can't modify the behavior of the base branch
Oh
in
no,
the
that
system
makes
I'm
sense.
envisaging.
No, that makes
Because
perfect
otherwise,
sense.
I'm like,
That's
I mean,
that's
I
what.
could let you do it, but you'd honestly, you'd shoot yourself in the foot so
Well,
quickly,
if any other
and then what?
dudes want to figure out what we've been trying to figure out, yeah, crack on, but do it yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
So the base chain is like it's sort of hidden from you. You can see it, but it kind of it's not really that visible. It's because you're always working in a
no,
particular
I think that's
repository.
perfectly fine. I mean, what we've got here is an operating system. It's like if you want to alter a distro, go for it. Yeah, crack on.
That's right.
But if
That's
you want to
right.
use
That's
a
right. That's
distro,
right.
yeah, this is how you use it.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Yeah. I guess I'm just feeling a bit fucking disillusioned at how long it's taken. But in reality, I only started doing this model
This
about
is uh,
9 days ago, I think.
don't worry about the time because the you compare it to what we were doing previously in
Oh
our
God.
last thing and how much
Yeah,
it
I know.
cost.
I know. Yeah.
Um,
So what I do have is the isolation of the file system that's in there. So like the file system stays separate, um,
okay,
which is what we wanted.
right. Yep,
Which allows bots to not sort of pollute each other.
yep.
And a big piece that I haven't built is streaming down the results to you. So I consider that a nicety. Um,
Well, it's polite, but it's not necessary.
it's polite, yeah,
Yeah.
but as a side effect of the way I want to do the streaming, also you may get no visibility.
Right. Well, here's
But I'll give you some. I'll give you some. I'll figure something out.
it's fine. It's fine. Now, one of the things when I was using AutoGen, that was really annoying is
Hmm.
they allowed groups of bots
Hmm.
as chunks, but when you passed a session prompt into that group of bots, you couldn't
Hmm.
say actually this inside of this group. Um, this is the bot to talk to first, and so the
Oh,
AI
they
was
all
trying.
get it.
They all get it, and they all decide amongst themselves who's best to do it.
Right.
And I was getting
Right.
really
Right.
poor
Right.
results. Well, actually, it was pretty good results, but poor
Right.
results in
That's
terms of
interesting.
yeah,
Because I guess that's just you wanna set up the prompt processing pipeline yourself,
yeah.
and you probably would be able to do it using just a 3.5 turbo type of a script that's just like,
It's
you
real
know,
simple, and it kept on going to the
yeah,
wrong bot, and the wrong bot
right,
was just wasting tokens and just
right,
adding in spurious stuff. And then eventually
right,
the right bot would get in, but it would take fucking
right.
ages.
Because we've got the stuck loop, but that's still just another. That's just our opinion. You know,
Yeah,
like you should be able to reprogram the stuck loop, run it any way you want. You know,
right,
that's just the
right,
stuck
right.
loop's just how we think it should go. It's not fixed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So what AutoGen has got at the moment is you can create individual agents, and you can
Mm.
create links between those and the discourse between themselves. That's all fine. And then it's either
Right.
one to one or one to many, but you have no control over many. And then you just get it's one of
Yeah. Right.
these business meetings where everyone's got an opinion. It's like
Oh God.
fucking hell, guys.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
that that's really restricting. I think I don't know whether they're going to address that. Perhaps they will. But this idea where you bring in the business knowledge, saying, well, actually, if I want to do this, you first go to I don't know the guy who handles the orders, then it goes to the packer, then it goes to the
Right. Yeah.
distributor, then
Right.
it
Right.
goes to
Right.
that.
And that's really just one bot that you programmed in NL to pick amongst these other bots that it's going to
Yeah,
distribute the work to.
right,
Right. That's all
right.
that is.
Yeah, you say favor this bot because he's probably going to know. And
Right.
the rest of them can shut the fuck up.
Right. And then another thing that's missing in the AutoGen platform is when you get stuck, you have to leave the platform to tell people
Yeah,
what you were doing and how you got stuck. And
yeah,
when they don't have any of the context,
yeah,
whereas here for us, we're like, first of all, we'll try and auto detect when you were stuck. But second of all, you can instantly share your sessions and also ask for help in band so that people come along and, you have exactly what was going on.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That leaving the platform thing is a really good point. It's very jarring. Effectively, it's
yeah, it's
down to Dave to
horrifically jarring.
figure. Yeah, it's like Dave, sort it out. It's like, oh,
Yeah, and it's
you guys are
it's
meant to
it's
be
worse.
doing it for me.
It's
Yeah,
worse than coding because in coding you have so much control over the system that you can make a reproducible example.
yeah,
But in bot prompting, especially with multi-bot, you're like, what is going on here, and how do I reproduce these results? Um, it's frustratingly fuzzy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Fuzzy is a
that's a
good
good
word for it.
property. That's a good property that would be bringing with this
Yeah,
system. Then
yeah.
that's a very good property.
And you could also
Um,
define that as a flowchart. So you can talk to this. This bot can also talk to these other bots as a group. That's fine, but you are in charge.
right,
Um, it's effectively which bot at each point is in charge of the flow. It's like, okay, back up, back up.
right. Yeah, I
So
think that would be very simple in our framework. Um, but
I've
yeah,
not I've,
we'll
I've not
tweak it.
seen anyone else doing anything close to that. It all seems to be bucket stuff. Throw it into a bucket and
Mm,
let the bots work it out. And it's like,
mm,
no, it gets it wrong.
right. Okay.
Okay, all right. So, what was I saying about this one? I'm saying that this structure, I think, is still sound.
Oh yeah,
I think it's
100%. If I learn anything, it's more than sound. It's like it's a gangbuster structure. Like that is a great data structure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. And also, I don't. I've been spending quite a bit of time looking at what everyone else is doing. Nobody else is doing anything that has that concrete handoff in
right,
parallel to multiple
right,
bots.
right, right. So yeah, I mean, I've been analyzing this structure in great detail to be able to run it in Dino deploy, and still there's nothing. I can't really fault it. It scales well.
Mm-hmm.
It's reproducible. Um, it is understandable to everyday people. Like most people Git's been around that long that everyone sort of understands it.
And trust it as well. Yeah,
Trust it. It's data efficient. Um, it's good for searching. Like it's just a fabulous data structure.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
I've not seen it. Yeah, I agree. In thinking through this in parallel to you, I haven't been able to fault it.
yeah, yeah. And Dino deploy looks like it'll take the load that we want. Like it'll take an almost limitless load because the test I have in mind is how long will it take me to process 10,000 customer records through GPT-4. And the thing is that, our request limits now in OpenAI, because we spent so much money with them, is, like, I think we're almost tier 5 now. But,
Right.
um,
Yeah,
like, there's no
you'll
more
you'll
tiers
get a
after
badge.
that. I've, yeah, like someone left their test suite running overnight and suddenly now you're tier 5.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so their request limits give us 10,000 requests per minute. Okay, now I should be able to hit that API with 10,000 concurrent GPT calls
Mm-hmm.
and have a browser going where I can actually see the streaming and results of those 10,000 calls summarized for me. And that's sort of my goal with this system, and I think it's going to be possible to hit it.
Mm. Mm. And
If
sorry, after you.
being able to actually have enough workload to even touch the sides of the OpenAI API limits is impossible to do on a single computer. You need a highly burstable infrastructure to be able to even come close. And whilst I haven't taken Deno to its limits like that, I think that we'll get something remarkable that far exceeds what you could do on any given computer, even a beefy one, in terms of making concurrent calls out to OpenAI.
And that concurrency is really important.
The concurrency is actually really important. Yeah. Like,
yeah. Because you chunk up, this response generates two other actions, three other actions, all the way down, and you get something that looks amazing. And really, all you're interested in at that point, because it's, I think, going to be so fast, time's not going to be a problem. You're essentially just paying. It's like, I want this response back as quickly as I possibly can, and I'll give $5 for that response, or whatever it is.
That's right. And so the parallelism becomes actually quite a strong limit to what type of system you can make, and that's why, like, I'm still a bit queasy about how there's literally nothing left of our old system or models in this new thing.
Our thinking's still there, but
But the parallelism is something that seems like you absolutely have to have if you want to make useful AI-powered systems where you're doing as much as you can through an LLM instead of through a conventional piece of code.
Yeah.
And you have to do it through natural language, because I think if you're writing code these days, you're dead. You're about to get wiped out. So,
well, interestingly, on that one, I've been looking at there's various LLMs based around codes, as you know, and they're getting really good in terms of writing code, having QA in there, having a quantitative response to how well the code reached the original intent, and so on.
Right. So really I think what we're and I think that is starting to show us, like, there are some rules that apply to that. Those rules are small, well-defined pieces of code that can easily be tested across multiple contexts or example invocations. Those things will be the first to be done, and they will be done the best. When you try and do big things, it gets worse, radically so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
so long as we've broken the system down into the tiniest possible little parts, that's where we start to have hope that we can get those components automatically generated. But you have to have the atomizer first.
Yeah. The interesting thing, I agree on atomizer, but the interesting thing is it's starting to look like, we were talking originally about the stuck loop needing a human input at some point because the stuck is so hard. I think actually no, that's a prompting issue. In order to break up a problem into its fundamental parts, and you get down to the atoms, each are really straightforward, and so there's I'm seeing less and less of the need for someone to come in and solve a stuck, the more is defining at this baseline
you could
what it
right,
is.
but you could then say that the AGI score is inversely proportional to how often you need a human to come in and deal with a stuck. So the
Yeah,
closer you
yeah, that's
get
quite nice. Yeah,
to not
yeah,
needing that human in the loop, the closer you are to
yeah.
the general.
How many interactions do you need in order to solve any particular problem? Hmm, I quite like that. That's quite good.
That's probably a good metric actually.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
the like if it's high touch, like something that's high touch is an area that we should be focusing on to be like why are the humans here?
yeah, yeah. Cool. I
Yeah,
like that
okay.
a lot.
All right. Yeah, look, I just that's about all I had to report really. It's just frustratingly slow, but then it has only been 9 days and I'm trying to rewrite the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, give
so
yourself a break there.
and it is working. It just
Well, from my side, I'm just running as many models as possible, trying to look at how to get good prompts and session prompts together.
mm,
I've got, I
yeah,
think, a
okay,
good grammar for that, which I'll share later on today. Um,
okay,
and it seems to consistently get good results. And then outside of that, it's the swarm network, which is a
right,
thing I'm really looking for. As a well, even a shitty model would be good.
yeah,
I've done
yeah,
swarms on AutoGen, but the way they've done it, it's like this group thing. Now that's just ends up in arguments between
yeah.
bots. Um,
Yeah, I think we'll be in a really good place for being able to rapidly provide you with whatever framework you want to experiment with. So we should be able to quite rapidly clone, like be like, this is AutoGen,
yeah,
this is Super AGI. You know, like we should be able to demonstrate that we can copy any of those systems because our goal is to provide a programmable system. And so
right, right,
right? And
yeah,
because we're giving that programmable LLM governed type of a system, we should be able to replicate these other ones very easy and
yeah,
keep pace with whatever innovations they add. Because I can guarantee you, there's no code that they can make that we can't do in an LLM because they're trying to give you tools for LLMs to use. So there's not really anything that they're ever really going to be able to do, right? That I
mhm,
bet, well, I'll guess, what they're struggling around is how do I run a database that tracks what all the bots did? How do I?
well, memory is a big thing. That's a lot of people are working on memory, and the best format for the memory. Do you compress it? Do you
Right,
summarize it using a bot? Do you keep
right,
it full session? There's a lot of chat
right,
about
right. Yeah. So we can. All of that is just. It all just fits this branching model, and we can experiment with different things that people have put forwards, and then run them through various benchmarks that get applied.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, what I think would be interesting for us to do as soon as you've got a framework or two that you're happy with is hook it up to some of those evaluation tools that people run, like GPT-4 over,
yeah, yeah. Like the
and be like
scorecard. Yeah, yeah,
the scorecard, right? And then you're like, here's a network of agents programmed in this way, and here's its score. And what's more, that's quite good because we should be able to demonstrate the parallel nature of the deployment platform
yeah,
where you can sort of kick it off and then it's like explosion of tests.
yeah. And the really interesting thing there is, remember that paper I sent over where the you had a hierarchy of bots which were rewriting the session prompts in order to get closer to what good was.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Right. Right.
Now that can be done as part of this structure, right? And so you could give an early result, saying, "Okay, here's the
Mm.
result," but
Right. Yeah. Right.
it can,
Right.
it
Right.
can it can go off, and a few minutes later come back and saying, "Here's a better result."
Yeah. It just keeps grinding over it and just leaves it running.
Yeah, yeah, and
Right. So that's yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
there's quite a bit of research around. Well, quite a bit. I've seen 3 papers. Around the use of bots to train bots. The other thing is the an interesting aspect. I don't know if you picked this up, but there's a lot of chatter about synthetic data. Now, synthetic data is essentially bots training bots.
Right.
So there it appears that generally they're coming to the edges of the tin in terms of the sum of human knowledge,
Yeah. Right.
which
Because
is
it's
why it was
already been organized into these good, massive data sets.
right.
And it's like, that's all there is, guys. It's also been checked. So,
Right, right. So there's a lot of effort being put into synthetic data. Now, synthetic data is essentially bots training bots, which is what we're talking about. Because the having a session prompt updated by another bot, um, there's no human interaction there. That's synthetic data. So that seems to be the trend where everyone's going at the moment.
okay.
So we're we're on the right we're on the
Okay.
right mark.
Right. And then also, like, I mean, the fact that these are Git models makes them immediately, instantly shareable
Yep.
too. So that's a very positive thing.
Yep. And also
Yeah.
forkable if you feel like it, you know?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like, you want to be able to say, okay, here's the swarm that scored 88% in this particular benchmark. If you think you can do better, you can start twiddling with it and running the tests massively in parallel, so
Yeah,
that every little change is being sort of, you can quickly see if you've improved here or there or whatever.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Right, exactly.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Well, yeah, I
we're
definitely
still on
think
the
we're on
same
the
track.
right track. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're on the same track. It's
yeah,
definitely the right thing to do. It just turns out that distributed systems are hard. Um, I knew that. I just forgot it.
yeah. Okay.
um,
Well, I'm starting to run out of useful work to do, but I'm probably about a week
yeah.
or two away from uh actually,
Okay.
you know,
So what are we doing once we got the system up? So I think what
um
I'm doing is I'm going to use it immediately for the trucking guys.
yeah, yeah. I've
Um,
got several now places to apply this over the
okay.
UK.
How do we and when do we get
Sorry.
ambient attribution working?
Well, ambient attribution is just another bot. Um, it's the way I'm seeing it is got some really quite good examples of assessing the value of something.
Okay.
As long as you know give some quite specific things about what value means.
Right.
Um, but also there's I've not done this yet, but I think there's probably an opportunity to have a bot to say what value is,
A,
and get that
a
self.
price
Yeah,
setter bot.
right, right. Um, and again, what we're saying. Oh, Jesus, man, I'm sorry. I'm
That's all
really
right.
quite ill
We've
right
been through the same thing over here, actually.
now. Yeah,
It's bloody horrible.
I've got raging temperature every time. I don't take paracetamol. Um, we've got the opportunity to write a bot that has that self learning loop that I was talking about in terms of code correction, and so on can easily be put into ambient attribution, I think. So I'm actually really quite relaxed about ambient attribution. Has always been, the bugbear. How do we do this? But actually, it seems doable. We'll see what the results are. But we get
You think that's just you think that's just a swarm of bots looking at the data commits?
Yeah, and again, ambient attribution. The value of that really comes down to if anyone puts in any kind of effort, how much do they subscribe to the model that gives them cash out, and your choice is to go in the field and play the game or go somewhere else. I think if we get it entirely automated through bots, then it's like, here's the bots. If you got a better idea, fork it. Fine.
Right, and if you got a better idea, fix the bots. That's really the proposition we want to make, right? It's like, look, exactly. If you don't like how these bots go,
yeah, but you don't want someone putting their finger on the scale,
well, because it has to be open, and it's like, look, the LLMs, everyone's busting their ass to make the LLMs as unbiased as they possibly can be. So, like, pick an LLM or pick several, either way, but these rules need to be applied. What's the word for it? With I think it's called reflexivity, where if I apply the rules to you, and then if it's reflected around and you apply them to me, they would come out the same.
Right. Yeah. So the ideal situation. Okay, this is getting a bit esoteric with what I'm about to say, but I was thinking around ambient attribution being what's the perfect situation for negotiation. And the perfect situation is, in my view, where neither party knows whether they're themselves or the other party.
That's right.
So you have to come to an even ground because you don't know whether you're arguing for yourself or the other person.
That's right.
And that is definitely something that we can do with bots.
You don't know who you are. Yep, I agree with that. That's
yeah. So I'm really quite.
That's
quite
impartial. That's a genuine impartial ruling.
Yeah.
If all it knows is your data trail.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you're always going to get the best outcome. Well, this is Nash's equilibrium theory, isn't it? So, kind of the prisoner's dilemma, where you don't know the other person, but you take identity away from that, and you're always going to get to some place that everyone.
Oh man, that's true. All of those game theory problems depend on your identity being known.
Yeah. Yeah.
But altruism is a form of you could be anyone.
Yeah.
And so we can force that. We can force that upon actors in the system by shuffling rotating the deck. So you run it, and then you like rotate the rolls, and then run it, and then you just sort of tumble it. If you tumble it. And then you take the average or something.
You don't know where you take something you are. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so you don't know whether you're arguing for yourself or you're arguing for the other party.
Yeah. Right. That's pretty cool.
And that seems, again, it's like, these are the rules. Go and play somewhere else if you don't like it. But
yeah, that's right.
That seems to be the best way for fairness to be. Well, my argument is the best definition of fairness is when you don't know whether you're arguing for yourself or the other person.
Right. That's the best definition I've heard so far from anyone. Okay. That's good. All right. So that should be. So if our offering is here's fairness, and then if you don't like it, you can reprogram it, and you can watch it run in massive parallelism so long as you're paying for the credits.
Yep.
And you can play around with it all you like, and you can twiddle it here, twiddle it there, and see what gives you a better outcome. But, guarantee you it'll definitely be better than the manual process, and at least you can try and improve it globally. Like if you figure out something that scores it higher for
right,
everyone's outcome, that's a pretty important thing.
Yeah. I think we're really close to Dreamcatcher, man. I think we really are very close.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just sort of a bit in disbelief because it's actually quite simple.
Simple is good. So from this side, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just continuing to get my own expertise up on how to do this interbots exchange and to get it pure and with the session prompts as small as possible at each point. And then also getting good judges, and we've got the courts up there. And we've still got, the advocate and so on, and understanding the intent. All of that now seems really quite simple. I say simple. It seems very doable. We'll see. As soon as you can get me a horrible, dirty mechanism to talk to at least 2 bots, I can start figuring out whether actually, the stuff I've been thinking about actually works. It doesn't work on any of the other platforms I've been looking at, like AutoGen, because of the way they've done it. What we need is effectively to be able to define at the dev level the logic flow that's required, so that you don't get a whole bunch of bots going backwards and forwards in a group. If we can get this, you got the parallelism going, so it's not going to take too long, and we've got the memory, and we're done. Right?
Yeah, it's parallel. Okay.
So as soon as you can get me a quick and dirty anything, so that I'm not doing stuff on other platforms that doesn't necessarily. Well, most of it translates because most of it is prompt engineering.
I'm going to take a guess. Maybe it'll land round about Wednesday.
All right.
Because I'm up and running for a single thread.
Yeah.
And now I'm just tidying up how you access that from the web browser. Then I'll go to multi-thread. Once I have multi-thread and the web browser, then I think that's sort of you can get going at that point.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And I'm not stuck yet.
Okay,
there's stuff
it's coming that way. It's coming.
Yeah. There's diminishing returns now because I'm going daily through all the good YouTubers and all the good bloggers.
Yeah, I know, and nothing new is really landing. It's just everyone's coming up with new strategies on how to use LLMs, but LLMs are like kind of they're done almost.
Yeah.
Like
exactly. And
it's just how do you compose them? And
it struck me last night actually. One of the really good guys I've been following, a guy called Wes Roth. His latest one was saying I was looking at it going, "Nah, man, you're wrong there." Now this is this is a guy whose business is to keep on top of everything. And it's going, "No, you're behind the
Yeah,
curve."
right.
So I think we're getting to the point where actually we're probably ahead of the game.
Well,
Um,
let's not waste it. Let's turn it into some capital. So
yeah,
the general platform I think that we're providing right now is a way to arrange any LLM in any fashion using natural language to code it.
yeah,
And all of these papers I'm seeing, they're all just new arrangements of LLMs, and they've got a bunch of Python code with them, and it's sort of like hacky and cumbersome. But we're
yeah.
like, well, if you use the LLMs to orchestrate or architect all of these papers and these patterns, then you can at least see what they're like and rate their performance before you commit to code any bits that need to go faster,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. And so this benchmark, I think you could say it is the way to, it is general AI compute in a way, because I don't know how to prove it mathematically, but the branching structure I think is complete in terms of every move you could possibly do for inter-process communication.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could argue that there's probably a way to prove that you can generate any program structure from this
Well, like
branching
a Turing
structure.
machines kind of thing.
Yeah. But you're saying like it's a natural language programmable system that we can sort of prove can be arranged to set up any arrangement of LLMs that you can think of. We can
Mm.
demonstrate here, and we can set it up using just natural language. Is I know that's very messy, but that's what we're trying to right. That's what we're trying to
It
show,
feels like
because
there should be a proof there. Feels like there should
there's
be.
a proof in there somewhere. Yeah. So, but if we're just like, well, if we can replicate this paper, like we'll pick a bunch of papers that do different things,
Mm.
replicate it using this system, and be like, look, yes, we know that it is a little bit slow in some areas because it uses an LLM instead of code, but does that really matter?
Well,
Especially
yeah,
when you
but
have the parallelism.
a Turing machine is deadly slow, right?
Yeah, right. It's right. Exactly. Exactly.
But
A
it's
Turing
still
machine is
complete.
deadly slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
I
yeah, I
think,
think that's the offering of the platform, right?
yeah,
Until whatever comes after LLMs happens, that's the framework you want, I think.
yeah, I agree. And also, perhaps there's something emergent from this structure or similar structures beyond LLMs. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's getting
Yeah.
close to AGI. I don't know. I'm thinking AGI is going to be next year.
How would you know when it arrived?
Now there's the rub. Um, I'm
Right?
uh, I'm a fan of Richard Feynman, who said on quantum mechanics, "Shut up and calculate." It's like we don't have to worry about that. I mean, when it who cares when it arrives? It's just going to get more and more useful. At some point, we can look in the rear view mirror and go, "Oh yeah, we had AGI last year." Yeah.
That's right. Okay. All right. Well, I better get on with it then.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm doing at the moment, I'm also moving on. I've got on the 29th of Feb. Um,
Yeah.
I've got
Oh fuck! Is it a
uh,
leap year this year? Oh
it
yeah.
is. It is. Yeah.
Funny. Didn't even know.
It's that whole divide by four thing.
Yeah. And
I'm
400. Don't forget. And 400.
absolutely. So I've got the Adorium Club of Investors down in London,
Yeah.
and I'm the the keynote. So I'm working towards
Oh, cool.
talking about
What
this
date
on
is?
the
So that's the 29th, eh? Let me just make a
29th.
note of it.
Yeah, and there's another one in mid-March, but that's not been confirmed yet. So there's
Yeah,
a lot of
okay.
appetite, but
Are
effectively
they
I'll be going
paying? Are they
down.
paying you for that?
No, unfortunately not. But we'll see what comes
Oh,
out
well,
of it.
I'm sure you'll be able to
Uh,
swing something out of that. Yeah.
yeah. A bunch
Okay.
of rich
Cool,
dudes
man.
all worrying about AI. There's got to be some kind
Well,
of
they
cash in
should
there.
be. They should. I
Yeah.
know. Um. Okay. Well, I'd better get onto it.
All right, man.
Thank you
Right.
very much for
So
the.
yeah, not at all. And as I say, tonight, roughly 12 hours from now, I'll be available. Don't feel that you need to come online if you're still working.
Okay.
But I'll be available.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, buddy.
Onwards, man.
Thanks again. I'll see you soon.
See you, man.
Okay, bye.